Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for being here and representing your clubs today. This is such a cool thing that you're taking time out of your schedules, especially at this time of year, to come in and learn and take this information back to your club. Is everybody here done with their Christmas shopping?
Yes. No.
Yeah. One person done. All right, the rest of us, we all know what we're doing this afternoon, right? My name is Lynne Brasher. I am not Trish Blackwelder. When she's up here, she is not Lynne Brasher. So, see how that works. We are, Trish especially, is the goddess of all things pathways in District 3. She is our Pathways Committee Chair. She's the person who will answer your emails, the person who will be happy to find someone to help you if you ever need it. And I will tell you later how to get in touch with us. Okay? But for today, we're just going to hang out with Lynne. And we're not going to be talking about how to do base camp or how to sign up for a path. What we're talking about today is pathways today. Is anybody here a full-time Toastmaster? What does that mean? Do you have a job? Does anybody not have a job or not have a family and all they ever do is Toastmasters? I don't have that privilege. I don't think Jim even has that privilege. There's these pesky little things like work and spouses and children that require our attention. And when important things happen within our program, sometimes we all don't catch all the cool things that have been going on. And that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to talk about the cool things that have been going on, even since the last time we did this, winter of last year. Some of the changes have been really cool. And I'll use that word a lot because I like some of the changes. They're making it more and more agile. It's more and more easy to use for anybody who wants to use it. And apparently, a lot of the members of District 3 want to use it. Did you know that 73% of our members are already signed up for Pathways? 73% means that on a 3-to-1 margin, people in Toastmasters are working through Pathways education program. And the way to make someone successfully work through a Pathways education program is for their officers to embrace that Pathways education program. For their officers to have a few more nuggets of information that make it just a little easier and a little more effective for them to use the tools. Everybody in here has at least seen a pathway, right? Been to the website, right? Has anybody in here was a member before we had Pathways? A lot of us. Now, if I asked you to talk about the old education program, you could hit it, couldn't you? You could go from the beginning to the end with every bit of detail. Well, we're all learning something new. And the best thing about learning something new, and this something new, is it continues to change. It continues to get better. Because we all know what it's like when they release that first beta version of any phone, right? It's going to have a few glitches, we're not going to. But then they get to the version 2. And if your iPhone, you get to, what are we at, level 12 now? You're getting the better and the better and the better. And that's what's going on with Toastmasters and Pathways, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. I want to make sure that you guys go out of here with this is what our program looks like, and this is what it can do for you guys. So let's see if I can actually use this. It'll be fun if I can. I can? Fabulous. All right, so looking at our objectives today, make sure you're up to date on the things that have changed. We're going to take a deeper look at the Pathways Mentor Program, and then we're going to have some conversation about getting people started in this program. Think these things would be helpful in any way? All right, good. Then there's a reason for me to stay up here. All right, let's go ahead and get started then. See if you'll move for me. All right, so the first change, and this is a change that I'm going to challenge you. If you brought your device with you today, when was the last time you logged in to the Toastmasters website on your telephone? Never? It is so much more robust than it used to be. Did anyone ever log into the website and open the Toastmasters Navigator? Anybody? Yeah? Did you print the whole thing out? Yep. Yes, I saw some. Yeah, it was you, wasn't it, Connie? When I looked at that, I was a Pathways investor. When my guide and I looked at the Toastmasters Navigator, we went, oh my gosh, no one's ever going to read this thing. It was hundreds of pages of PDF. And it was full of wonderful information that every new member should have access to immediately upon joining our organization. But how many of you have printed out a 50-page PDF? Again, with the Connie. Now, when somebody else in the middle joins you on that, Connie. What they've done now is they've actually turned the navigator into something that you can use on your phone. Go ahead, log into Toastmasters website. Log on to Basecamp, and when you get there, you'll be able to hit the navigator button, and in less than the time it takes me to finish the next sentence, it will be up on your phone. I don't know if you're going to use the Wi-Fi here, I'm not sure about that. But the Wi-Fi in my house, it works. It is an effective tool to onboard new members, and if you can pull it up on your phone right there at the meeting, somebody joins, you say, hey, here's the page you're going to be getting when you join. Come right here and you can learn everything there is to learn about our organization. Look up here and see what it looks like. Instead of one big PDF, we now have a section simply called Welcome to Toastmasters. And it very much gives you a, hey, nice to have you here, this is what we do around here, these are the basics. The next one talks about the club environment. Again, very short, very sweet little things, and then occasionally they're very, very effective because they actually, let's see if I can make it go, have a video library right next to it. Now, everybody knows that some people learn by reading. Some people learn by doing. Some people learn by watching, hearing. That's a big group, especially of the younger learners. They're very into watching video. My son learned to tie a tie on YouTube. It was very effective. He ties a great tie. That's how we can make our program more robust, more agile. We can get them in here and start them through these sections, and they can look at the very cool videos around each of them. It includes a separate section on speeches and evaluations, and look what's here, Pathways Learning Experience. This kind of sets the tone for it, so they have some idea of what's going on. We used to give a member handbook. Did anybody remember getting one of those when they joined? A member handbook. And it was paper. It showed you everything there was to know about our organization. We don't do that anymore in most places. Don't see it, but we now have it available to us here. However, if you are like Connie and you want to have it in PDF, you may still hit the button and download the thing all in PDF or even print it out. So the first big change, in my opinion, is that the navigator is much more efficient. And it comes up as part of the guide that a Toastmaster, new Toastmaster, is going to receive an email from Toastmasters, and they're going to be able to immediately get to this navigator and guide them through not just Pathways, but Toastmasters in general. It's a big change there. Yes?
Is it the same as going to your app store and downloading the app?
No. There is still no app for Toastmasters.
I found it.
You found an app? Are you sure it's the Toastmasters? It sure looks like it.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what's in there. I'm not sure. To my knowledge, there is not an app that manages Pathways. However, remember we're changing stuff all the time. They may have changed something since I looked last. But inside the program is where I'm seeing the changes. Okay? I use it on Chrome. I pull it up on my phone in Chrome. That's how I do it. And it navigated right through. It was very impressive to move the way it moves. So video libraries are available depending on how your person shares they want to learn, and you can pull this screen up on your phone, standing in your club meeting, show it to a person so they know where they're going to look, and they can get started. So that's a big change that I really, really appreciate them making. Oh, I went the wrong way. I turned my thing upside down to use the light. Silly me. All right, so what else has happened? Does everyone know there's a new path? No, there's a new path. Again, our iPhone, it was a version 11, and now it's a version 12. Our iPhone has even introduced a new feature. This new feature is a new path. And remember when you're working with your members that some of your people will be working digitally, and they're going to be able to see all these new paths. If someone's working from print, there is a limited number of paths available to those working in print. So if you're talking to somebody who's online and you talk about, especially if you have somebody in your club who really enjoys being funny, really enjoys learning to be funny, there's a brand new path, found a new path for that. And that's engaging humor. I love this quote. Humor is perhaps a sense of intellectual perspective, an awareness that some things are really important, others are not, and that the two kinds are most jumbled in everyday affairs. If you handle humor well, Help you with your job, help you with your family, help you with your life. You want to handle humor well? Get the engaging humor path. This path is very traditional. It follows the exact same process of everything else. That means we do an icebreaker when we start. Every path starts exactly the same. If we were building a house and we decided to skip the foundation, would we want to live in that house? No. I want to live on someplace I can actually stand. So we're going to continue to always have every path start with those same first 3 projects. Those give you the foundation to move on to what's happening next. But once you get out of that, you move into level 2. And it's all about connections. Making connections is hard, even if you're not being funny. So it's all about connections there. And then it gets you to know your sense of humor, something that you will find in a few other paths as well, because it is really a benefit to anybody who's ever going to speak. The thing I really liked is engaging your audience, number 2 or 3, and then the power of humor in an impromptu speech. If you have to get up and talk and you are not prepared, what is the best way to get your audience to be with you? Make them laugh. Make them smile. You get an audience that's engaged with you and you are going to feel better as a presenter. It's a wonderful, I love this path. I'm terrified because the humorist manual is one of the hardest ones I ever did. But I really adore what they've done with this path. And then the last, of course, is develop your message with humor, because every level 5 project is a big project. You're reaching the top. So every level 5, this one's is develop a message with humor. So that's what this new path is going to do. So if you find somebody in your club who either tells you they're incredibly uncomfortable engaging their audience, they're incredibly uncomfortable with humor, and they're giving really dry and somewhat difficult to listen to speeches, this is something you might recommend. There's a brand new path you might consider. We had one member who came up and said, I really need to get better at not just laughing, but having people laugh with me, not at me. Yes. Well, we have a path for that. All right.
I ask you a question on that.
Yes.
I will try myself, although I can't remember my password for Toastmasters, but when we go in there and look under navigating, will we be able to find a web page that actually has a description of the what's on different levels for every path? They used to not do that.
They used to not do that.
Right, so now when I see this, I want to know, do they have that?
Yes, and we are actually going to cover that in just a little bit, so well done, Ms. Moore. Any other questions while we're stopped? All right, so we all feel good. We can go back and tell that one member who we know would really groove on this new path if this new path exists, right? Everybody's feeling groovy. All right, let's see how we do. Earlier we mentioned how I'm pulling up pathways now on my phone, and I'm pulling up things on my tablet, and how navigation has gotten to be much more smooth just to get to the navigator. Does everyone here know your name? Not my name, your name. Good, you're all comfortable with your own name. So that means that here at the top, you see it says, hi Lynn, welcome Lynn. Whenever one of you remember your password and you log in, you will see your name at the top. When you see your name, if you click on yourself, you will get to Basecamp. You will get to Basecamp. You will not have to go searching. You will not have to pull the drop down. You will not have to pull the line. You will not have to go to the line under the Basecamp. You just hit your name. And it's going to take you to a button that will get you to Basecamp. Now that alone is a marvelous enhancement that we can get there. We also, while we're there, can change our magazine preferences. We can change everything else about ourselves while we're in there. But most importantly, we click on our name, we get to our profile, and we immediately can get to Basecamp. The other thing we can do, for brand new, is we can choose a path. Or purchase a new one if we have one already. And of course, remember, we can view the navigator. Yes?
So when I try to get Basecamp from my phone, it gives me a pop-up and then it just goes to like the desktop version of the website. It doesn't seem to have a responsive or a mobile version. Is that something that they're
Correct.
working on?
I can tell you that it's more agile on our mobile platforms than it used to be. Are they working on an app that will support it? I don't know. Are they working on a mobile vision? I went through my entire path yesterday on my phone, all the way through. So what I found is that it is allowing us to navigate more smoothly in a mobile environment. My opinion, therefore, is they have optimized for mobile, but maybe they're not completely there. There aren't any more pop-ups, there are new windows, and that's the next thing I want to talk about. Is remember when you first went on your path and you had to open your path and you went to launch it and it came up as a pop-up. And if you hadn't enabled pop-up, which most of us hate everything they do with pop-ups, right? We don't want those on our computer. So almost every one of us has an anti-pop-up thing in our setup. Toastmasters learned from that. Okay, they're not liking the pop-ups. Then let's do something else. So now, while it still does open again, it should open as a new window, not as a pop-up. What's the differentiation from that? Well, first of all, you don't get blocked opening a new window, so that's the big one. And you should have the same navigation tools in the new window as you had in your old window. So that should cause less navigation trouble inside the system. Also works on your tablet, and of course still works on the PC too. But that's a big one, and it's a very, very handy thing to make sure your members know is all you have to do if they're having trouble finding or navigating themselves to pathways is click on your name. Once you click on your name, everything is going to show up. It's going to allow you to do anything you want on the website. All right, any questions about that? And most of us can't remember our name most of the time, so it's a handy thing, right? All right. I'm going to eventually figure out how this darn thing works. It'll probably be when we're all done. All right, the next thing I want to make sure and talk about, another new thing that we're doing, or that we have had done, is we have a new member quick start. So what happens is, Toastmasters, when you join, Toastmasters sends you an email. Y'all remember that email? Anybody here new in the last, say, 4 or 5 months? I really want to get a look at that email. What I understand the email is going to do for us is it's going to help us guide, as a new member, right into the system. So it's going to say, hey, you need to click here. When you click here, you need to set up a password. Here's how to do it. When you get onto the site, it's going to guide you the rest of the way. So when you are teaching your new members, or you're getting your new members set up, there's really a 5-step quick start that you can use. You can sit down or speak to your member and say, okay, you're going to get this email. When you get the email from toastmasters.org, it's going to lead you to our site. When you get there, it's going to lead you directly to enroll in Pathways. The very first time you log in, it literally is going to try to onboard you. It's going to walk you through. Here, no, press here. Wait, don't go there. Here, press here. Follow this along and get yourself a path. And there are different ways of choosing paths. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. As I said, what we find in these 5-step quick start is that they are guiding the onboarding process for our members. They're taking them in and making this, they're taking away the mystery. They're making it easy. Tell you, here, go here, go here, go here, be onboarded. Now, be blessed and go out and do your sample icebreaker. But the new 5-step process that gets you on, rolls you in Pathways, gives you access to the navigator, which we want to encourage them to use now that it's not a 50-page PDF, gives them a sample of the icebreaker. Even before they've picked their path, it gives them an option of sampling the icebreaker so they get an idea of what that's like. And then it allows you to reach out to your VPE and say, okay, I'm ready, assign me a mentor. The new member experience, as I said, has changed quite a bit. The email walks you through the process. Once you get the email, it takes you through now different ways of selecting your path. We all remember when we picked our first path? We took a test. It's always good to start something with a test, right? We took a test. And when we got to the end of that test, because we couldn't see everything and we didn't know what we were committing to, a lot of us got a little nervous about what does this mean if I choose this path? What's included in this path? Well, remember, that's available now on the site. We'll talk a little bit more about it as we go. But they give you the one option, which I think is really nice, is they've made a detour. They made a detour that says, okay, if you don't want to take this test as the first thing you do in Toastmasters, you can just press this button and sign up for presentation mastery. If you are here to work on your speaking skills, you can click this button and just sign up for presentation mastery without having to go through an assessment. It also will allow you to just pick a path. You know, so if you do a drop down. So if you knew what you wanted, I'm kind of waffling on my next two, but I don't need an assessment to tell me which one I'm going to do. Right? So when I go to get my next path, I just have to reach down and pick up my path. Woohoo! Fabulous. And of course, if all that doesn't work and you don't mind taking a test and you really want some guidance, and the guidance was kind of cool, then go ahead and take the assessment. So your new member gets an email, it walks them to the Toastmasters International site, tells them what they have to do to log in, create a password, get in there, drops them off at the first page of Basecamp where it allows them now to select their path in one of 3 different ways. It allows them to have access to the navigator to review the program and in total and to review the paths, and it allows them to ask for help by reaching out to their VPE firm. So those are the things that we're seeing from the new onboarding process that are different. It's much easier to get places, and you guys can sit in your club meeting, pull this up, press your name, and show them that screen so they're prepared for what they're going to see without having to download, without having to print. You're able to get those people a little more comfortable with those first actions we're going to ask them to take. All right. I did it again, didn't I? Curtis, I need this thing to be the correct direction. All right. And then as I've continued to hint, you can now see it all. When I signed up for my first path, I could not figure out what that was going to include past level 1. I got the idea of what they wanted, but I had no idea what would be the real work I had to do to get into that path. Now, having been a Toastmaster for a while, I knew that some of our programs, some of our projects are harder than others. I knew what my interest in participating in the program were. So I went out and Googled and found somebody who had dropped an entire path before I made my decision. Apparently, Toastmasters got that hint. They realized that we were digging everywhere trying to figure out what we were committing to before we committed. Fabulous, thank you very much. Now you can access everything when you were in your path. What I've taken a screenshot of is, and I think you can see it here, is I am currently in this path on level 3. I haven't finished it, but what I've taken a picture of is level 4. So I've gone in already, and I actually looked at my level 5, and I accidentally said yes to someone in Toastmasters for this next few months. I'm going to have to do a project, and man, does it work perfectly for my level 5. Boy, am I glad I know that now, because I'm going to go make sure I get to it, and I can do that project, because I'm about to do the work.
So you said you can open them up?
Yep. You can absolutely launch every one of them. You can get in there and see what's in there.
True.
That is, I think, the best. Because like I said, I went and Googled it. I allowed Google to go find some Toastmaster who loaded everything up on the 2 paths I was considering. Once I knew what I was committing to, I committed to my path. I think a lot of us want to know what we're getting into before we jump. Most of us are not cliff divers. Right? All right, so, yes?
Okay, so now that this is available, if somebody's stuck in their path, let's say at level 2, this is really not the direction they wanted to go in, can they change paths now that they could see them, or do they have to purchase that, even if they don't continue that first path?
They have to purchase it. It's just like in the old world where we have to buy a new manual. Toastmasters not going to give us anything. There is, I believe, a 30-day exchange on a path. If you get in it, you order it, and you get in and you're like, no, this isn't what I want. Then there is an exchange. You can work with Toastmasters. Yeah. But if you have been working on it, you've done a couple of levels, and you're not that excited, put it aside, go get a new one. Maybe come back to it. I know several people who they're Toastmasters crazy, and so they're working 4 or 5 different paths.
Now, just to answer my question, because at one point there was only 2 paths allowed at a time. That apparently has changed?
That has changed.
Okay.
You can own as many paths as you want, and the other name you saw up here owns currently all of them. She's one of those Toastmaster crazy.
Why am I surprised?
She didn't know which one she wanted, so she got them all. And she's working on all of them, and we'll have like, I think she's on her 5th DTM, maybe her 6th, I'm not sure. I'm only done with 2, so I'm not nearly as Toastmaster crazy. At least I like to convince myself of that. All right, so now you can see them all. This is, and as you see here, this is an online thing. It's all available online. If you've got somebody who's picked a path that they're being mailed, it doesn't work that way. So you really do want to encourage new members to go online for their path. They get such a broader spectrum. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I believe there's maybe 5 paths available to a print, and there's 11 to those of us who are online. And if you are a print person, all you have to do is hit print once it comes up on your screen. So you're not giving anything away by signing up as an online member versus a paper member. But you're, in other words, the other way, you're really handicapping yourself to have everything available to you. You cannot see everything. They send you everything, the next phase as you finish each path, each level in your path when you are a print person. So you want to encourage your club members, even if they say, oh, I'm really not exceptionally comfortable with computers. And we do have a few people like that. If they say that, I understand, let me show you how to print a path. Let me open yours up and say, here's how I print this paper. Or let me bring you a copy of my next speech. You print it out and bring it over to them. Yeah.
So right now, I'm in ATM Silver under the old legacy program, so I can get a DTM using this pathway, switch over.
To your question, you were asking if the work you did to get to an ATM Silver will count toward a DTM under Pathways. The answer is no. You have until June 30th of this year if you have a pre-existing designation.
Actually,
20, sorry. I work in forecasting and planning. I've been writing 2020 now for weeks. Next year, not June 20 that just passed, it's June 20 that is coming up, you have to finish the requirements for a DTM under what is called the legacy program. And please, if you have people in your clubs who are close, make sure they know this. There are a few things that have not changed about what it requires to be a DTM. You have to be a district leader. You have to coach up a club. You have to do a couple of presentations. If they are not foot on the gas right now, we are running out of time. So you would need to finish your gold and all those other requirements that didn't change about being a DTM, now the non-educational side, the leadership side, before you could, and you'd have to complete them by June 30th. Yes, ma'am?
And the district still is looking for coaches.
Seriously?
Yeah, there's still time.
Wow. Wow, that's good to know. The district is looking for coaches. Coaching is one of the requirements for the DTM, both old and legacy and current. So if somebody is close. Yes, sir?
if you successfully coach a club, and the time is very short to do that, you will also receive a year of district service credit this year.
Wow.
So you can
It's
get
just
a
like buy
two-for.
one, get one free.
You get a two-for, yeah.
You get a 2-for-1 there. That's awesome to know. So if someone is really close, you should be reaching out to your area director, asking them who they need to contact to get in touch with someone who can help them finalize. Because people like you, who are almost to the top, you're in your last 6 months right now. Once that flips, all your district service, all the things you did that were not educational still transition. So if you've done your year of district service or you've completed a coaching assignment or whatever that might be, if you've done those things but you haven't claimed a DTM with them yet, you will still be able to use them for a Pathways DTM. It's just the education piece that is completely changed. And there's no translation. We can't go from Spanish to English on this one. They are just so different that there is just no translation. Any other questions? All right, let's see which direction we think we're going to go this time. All right. All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit about the Toastmasters mentoring program. Who here has finished level 2 of any path? 1, 2, 3. I see lots of hands. I'd like to see more. After you finish level 2, Toastmasters offers, it does not force down your throat, a program called the mentoring program. If you elect not to move it into so it comes up on your base camp, and you elect not to begin working on it, it will sit over there in your suggested learnings forever and a day. It will never force itself to be completed. It is a elective path. But it's one of the most important electives we could offer as an organization. One of the things that keeps members in this organization is the teamwork that we all do to support one another as we grow. Like, what are they? Supportive learning environment, right? That's us. That supportive learning environment is really enhanced by personal connections. If you are interested at all in providing that personal connection to a new member to help them get through all this online stuff, to get them in that first path, to get that first couple of speeches under their belt so they're comfortable in our organization, this is a program for you. At this time, anybody can mentor anybody. Right? Any of us can mentor anybody. In the future, mentoring will be limited to those who have completed the mentoring program. So what's the mentoring program? What's a mentor? Anybody know? What's a mentor? What does it mean to you?
Help all the Toastmasters become better.
Help other Toastmasters become better. Does it have to be a new person you're mentoring?
Nope.
No. PJ mentors me all the time on the silly stuff I do. Nope, that's not it. Then let's try again. It is a commitment to helping others, and that is really important to the definition of our organization. Is what a mentor, and now they've officially made it into something they're going to help you learn. Is anybody having a mentor at work? One of the best things that I ever did at work was I got a mentor. And that mentor, in addition to getting me in Toastmasters, also helped me get promoted, helped me learn what I needed to do to help my company and move up. Same thing works for Toastmasters. If you have a mentor, you're more committed to the program. You've got someone to ask these questions that we're all asking today, and that someone probably knows somebody who can help. You get a network of mentoring out of it when you do it. So I recommend every officer, when you complete level 2, at least consider beginning the mentor program. But I also recommend that you guys recommend this to your club members, because you keep new people when they don't feel lost. When someone is lost, they are not going to keep putting themselves in that environment. They're simply not. They'll go, they're gone. A mentoring program gives you an opportunity to hold on to your people. And it's available to every one of us, not just officers. So when you get to level 2, you want to sign up for the mentor program. But when anybody else in your club gets to level 2, you want to ask and talk to them about the mentor program. Because again, it's not going to come and say, you must start working on this. It's going to sit in your suggested learning on your base camp. And there's a few things in our suggested learning sometimes. Maybe they don't pay attention. Call their attention to the fact that there's a mentor program. And that mentor program is going to then suggest things that they can do to get better at being a mentor. And the very first thing it's going to ask you to do is measure your readiness. Sometimes we think we're ready. Sometimes we're like, oh yeah, I can do this. I've got this mentor. I can teach anybody anything they want to know about Toastmasters. But maybe I need a little help with my style. Maybe I need a little help in how I give direction. Maybe I need a little help in understanding what a mentor is versus a coach, because they're very different. And having a mentor is a great opportunity for a new person, but being a mentor is a great opportunity for you and for every new Toastmaster. Do you remember the first time you ever helped somebody else learn to do anything? Your mom taught you to bake a cake, and then you taught someone else? Now that cake is stuck in your head, you know how to make that cake. Because when you've taught someone how to do something, it's one of the greatest ways to reinforce your own personal learning. Okay? So we want our members to go out there and reinforce their personal learning. We want them to help us keep our new members coming back by helping them become better Toastmasters. So that's what the mentor program is going to do. And the cool thing of what it is versus how we did it before is there's a record keeping. It walks you through actually the steps you need to have a short-term mentor project, a couple months. It walks you through a 6-month mentor process. Great to start with a new member because it will then walk through, your existing member will then relearn and know what to teach to their person they're mentoring. So it's an awesome program. It requires 3 levels of education, and it teaches you to enhance a skill that most human beings have of wanting to help one another. Any questions about the mentor program? Yes?
I am just wondering, so people enters and people left the Toastmasters, so it's a way to going back. And I'm thinking, if somebody finished level 2, it's not much better to help the level 1st and like a mentor, and people they finish level 3 would mentor level 2. People there on level 4 who mentor level 3, and in some sense it will be like stepping a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I think we used to all think it that way when we thought about, okay, if we're going to evaluate speech. Well, you want somebody who's done this before, right? That used to be the way we thought before pathways. The same thing happens here. You don't have to, especially now because we have 11 paths. So your path could be completely different. Is it a good idea to let the people who are within your club who are all working on the same path to kind of know who they are so they can share ideas and they can discuss success strategies? You bet. You bet. Get all your motivational strategies peoples together. Get all your innovative planning people together. Let them know who they are. Because it does help when you're working through a path to have somebody who's either working at the same place or has just gotten past that. So just like you said, they can give that sage advice that they can give to the person. But it isn't necessary that we do it that way because all of our paths follow the same basic script. Different activities within them, but the same basic script. We have to get through 5 levels on every path. To get a DTM, we have to get through 10 levels and do a few other things. Those things are all consistent. The skills they're teaching are specific to the path, but the way they're teaching the skills are identical across all 11. I get used to saying 11. Okay? So you want everybody to learn to mentor because learning to mentor applies not just to Toastmasters. It applies to work. It applies to how you raise your kids. It applies to all sorts of life in general. So the mentor program is one that is an optional thing. So the question I wondered is, okay, do I want to step back from my path and not keep moving forward on my path and step over and do mentoring? Now, I made my personal decision to that was you bet. I want to know more about mentoring. I want to know if I've been doing it right. I want to know how I can do it better. And the actual someone taking the time to teach how to be a mentor is something that is rare. I have not found it in any of my business learnings, and I've been in business for a long time. I've had to mentor people in business with no training on how to mentor. I've mentored people in Toastmasters with no training on how to mentor. I think I did okay in some cases. This tells me if I did okay. There's a record keeping. It's going to walk me through that. Yes?
You said the mentoring path was 3 levels?
Yes.
Does it count as completing level 1, completing level 2, completing level 3?
Count to your personal education? Yes.
And count to your club goals?
I do not believe that the mentor program counts as completing levels for the DCP. Any thoughts on that, Don?
Now, my understanding is that the mentoring path is, you don't get credit for completing a regular path or any level in the path. It is a separate thing, but it is very valuable, as you've been talking about. It's worth doing if that's where you want to make an improvement. You get certified in the mentoring path.
So it's not, and that's what I thought, it's not DCP, you do not get distinguished club program credit for your mentor work. You get personal growth. That is, and that's a lot of the electives. I don't know if you guys have seen this you get to level 3 and 4, and I only saw a few hands on 2, but you get to level 3 and 4, and there's tons of electives. You could literally do 15 projects. One of them is going to count. or the DCP, Distinguished Club Program. You could do them all. Now you're talking about personal growth, and that's what the mentor program is doing. It's talking about personal growth. So that's why it doesn't apply to our Distinguished Club Program. Yes, sir.
So once you complete that one required thing that counts for DCP, can you continue on the subsequent levels while going back to level 3 mentoring?
Oh, yes. I'm working level 3 motivational strategies and mentoring right now.
Outstanding.
I'm working
So
both.
you're doing two things at
Yes.
the same time?
I'm multitasking.
Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's common. People even can do it with different paths. You can work motivational strategies and presentation mastery at the same time. You can't jump from level 1 to level 4 and back to level 2 of any path. It is a path. We must stay on path, do not go on grass.
Can I clarify that?
Yes.
You can go do any of those future projects. If there's an elective in level 4 that you like, you can do it.
True.
And eventually it will count, but you need to get credit in order. So before you get credit for level 4, you have to finish 1, 2, and 3. But you can do those future projects whenever you want. And in my case, a lot of my projects, I'm in level 4 and 2 paths. Those paths are often complex.
Yeah.
The project takes time. And if it's my turn to speak, I may not be ready to give one of those advanced project speeches. So I can go do an elective, any elective, and have my speech ready.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yes, very definitely to make sure we're all clear, the path has to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and be submitted 5, and be submitted that way. But the projects within them, if you do want to come up here and pick something up that maybe doesn't apply yet, you're fine to do it. You just can't get credit until 3 has been submitted. If you do additional electives, great, personal growth, but there will never be any credit. Which is why a lot of those electives appear in multiple paths, so maybe start the next path if it's something you're really into. All right, what other questions do you guys have? Yes, sir.
So I'm VPE of our club, and I was wondering, so when you go to Leadership Central, and I want an overview of everybody's progress in their paths, how do we get there? I'm having a little trouble doing that.
You would not do that in Leadership Central.
Oh, okay.
You would do that in Basecamp. And when you go to log in, if you are one of those excellent human beings who is a vice president of education, it's going to give you 2 options when it says go to Basecamp. Do you want to go to Basecamp as you, or do you want to go to Basecamp as the VPE? That is where you're going to find the reports. And in the reports, which still require some enhancements, you will find the information you are looking for.
I'm looking for member progress.
Yes. And what you will also find when you get in there is that if someone's mid-path, like right now I'm in the middle, I actually have one more speech to do of level 3, but my VPE can't tell that by looking at me. They see I am a level 2 motivational strategies. That's what they know. They can't tell how far I've gone.
Yes, they can now.
They can.
They've been enhanced so that they can't see.
Does it show like percentage complete?
It shows that a project that you opened it or whether you completed it.
Right. So, but you have to mark it complete.
Correct.
And, okay, so we have that, somebody marks it complete, you get a progress report within the path. But sometimes people don't mark their projects complete until it's time to submit the path, so that's wonderful to know. You can see, and you can teach people to start hitting the complete button when they get done. It's something you can absolutely, you finished level 2 today, congratulations, make sure you hit that complete button when you get into the system next, because that will make some changes to the program so you're able to see it. But until they hit complete, and that's their requirement, not yours, you're stuck.
For instance, last week I went in, I've been into pathways as a coordinator for a long while, but last week I went in and all of a sudden, boom, I could see that people had opened their icebreaker, and I know they finished their icebreaker, but it doesn't say complete yet.
Right. And that's definitely one of the things that it's difficult for us. We were used to, the old those of us who've been here, we were used to somebody signing their name. Now we have to take the action. We have to complete it. So as VPEs, make a big deal when someone is finishing a level of their path in your meetings. Make a big deal out of it. Make it something you want to talk about, you want to celebrate, and as part of that big deal, it's easy to, at that point, remind her, hey, make sure you hit complete on that, you have to do this to do this. It's the first time you've done it. Yeah, no.
If your VPE is out of action, they're maybe on a long trip, or if they're sick and they can't get it to it, the president and the secretary also have access to the base camp manager.
Absolutely, and those of you who are secretaries and presidents, hopefully you've noticed that same issue the VPE does when you log in. You have a choice of being you or the base camp manager. All right, lots of you, so we'll start up front.
I have a question that I might bring in Danielle here, because I'm currently the VP, and she used to be the VP, and now she's the president here in Club.
Mazel tov.
And we had an issue where something about the Distinguished Club wouldn't update because we had to update our pathways, progress in 2 different places.
Yes, you do.
You know what that is?
Yeah, I learned the hard way that just marking, accepting, and completion pathways didn't update. So last year we didn't get Distinguished Club because we had several people level up. So now we do know that we have to go into the both club or Leadership Central, update the club.
Absolutely.
I was going to ask if that had updated yet.
That, at this time, I do not think there is a plan to change that, because if I finish a path for, and I'm going to make believe I belong to 2 clubs, I do not. If I finish a path for Showtime, and I'm a member of Melrose, which I am, all right, my Melrose VPE won't see what's happened over here at Showtime. So somebody who's going to get, the club that's going to get credit, whichever one of those 2, is going to be the one that goes to Club Central and submits Lynn's level, not the Pathways program. And while it is unusual, not unusual, it's the minority that there are members who belong to more than 1 club. There are some people who belong to 8. So that's why that system won't talk to this system, because it isn't 100% of us aligned that way. Will that change someday? Maybe. But from a programming perspective, I can tell you that'd be really complicated. That'd be really complicated if you're learning software to figure out how to do that. And inevitably, it would probably give the credit to the wrong club. There was other hands. Who's next? Yes, sir.
I just want to make a point that mentoring can be a lot of different things. So you're talking about the official program, but for example, some clubs will have a mentor for the postmaster role for new members. So that's not part of the official program, but that's a good learning experience.
Absolutely. There are, I think many clubs have many different mentor programs. Some of them are role specific, some of them are individual specific, some of them are simply club specific. Club culture is a huge thing. Very big to making a club successful. So there's a lot of different ways you can use mentoring. What this program is going to do is teach you how all the steps can work to be the best mentor you can be. Who else? Yes.
Somebody told me that when the Vice President of Education is sending the award for somebody that completed certain path, you go to the manager, as you say, the
Base camp manager,
and you do all the process. But that person said that you need to set it again on the pathways and
I think that's what these guys were just talking about. It's Leadership Central and it's Base Camp. So 1 task in Base Camp.
because I follow that, but I don't see anything. I said, what's going on? But I see that somebody said that you could see the process of every member that what is working and what they're doing, and I see that at least on the work that I am doing, I saw 4 people they completed certain paths, and I saw like this symbol and the red curls. And I said, what do I do? I don't know.
That's probably something in your Base Camp Manager of accepting. It's going to come to you when you're signed in as Base Camp Manager. You can look at pending approvals, and you can hit the button to complete that approval. Okay? But there is still a 2-step path. You have to do it in Pathways, and you have to do it in Club Central, and I'll show you how to read a DCP report sometime. Okay, so that never happens to you again.
We know now.
All right, Connie, you had a question.
I was just going to remind you about the The contest, what qualifies for the new?
Absolutely. We were just talking about this because we are coming up on international, and international is the only speech contest that has a requirement other than you are a member, and that is that you have completed 7 speeches in the Competent Communicator Legacy program, or you have completed level 2 in Pathways. So those of you who put your hands up with level 2s, you guys can compete in international. All right, it's definitely the only place that we have a speech contest rule, and our speech contests in our clubs are coming up probably next month. And what else, you guys?
And that's got to be in the system.
And that has to be approved in both places. Yes.
Earlier you said that they got away from pop-ups on
Yes.
websites? Because I went under my name and hit go to Basecamp, and it gave me a link that says go here to disable pop-ups. I thought, okay, maybe it's just the phone, so I went here.
I wonder, because
and it gave me a page that says allow it.
I took a screenshot.
It didn't do it on there? Didn't
No,
do
it
it on
did.
your...
Both of them, different screen, but
So
they both
on my
are
phone,
pop-ups.
because I did play with this yesterday because I thought it was so cool, it brought up a whole new window.
I'm on Pathways right now and I had to disable my pop-up.
Interesting.
I think even though it's a new window, it's still considered a pop-up.
So even though it's
You
a
have
new
to
window,
enable it.
some systems are still considering it's a new, it's
You
a, not
may
just
have-
a new window, it's a pop-up new window, and so you need to give it the same.
You may
Good-
have just
Good to know.
already said anything from
Yes, I have.
Toastmasters.org.
Absolutely, when it all came out, they said, put us in your safe zone, so you could have pop-ups. So in my phone, I have Toastmasters in my safe zones, and then open it up as a new window. Yes, sir.
Which browser are they using?
Mine was Chrome. Chrome.
Safari did it as well.
Safari, both.
Does anyone use IE anymore?
That works.
That works.
Actually, I use Edge at work for one application.
Right, I have one app at work I have to use it for as well.
I was playing with it on Chrome. The hardest part was finding within the Chrome app where to turn off pop-ups, but it's there. So
Yes.
look around and say.
You could also Google it, or you can look it up on the Toastmasters website, because they have a link for that as well. But it is, instead of, and this is where I found it was good to get to my path. So I opened my path on my phone last night. I thought I was so cute. I opened my path and was able to look at what I needed to do next, which was very helpful when you're looking at it maybe while having a conversation at the club and you don't have your computer. And I hadn't been able to do that before. So to me, that's not a pop-up anymore, that's a window, and I was totally able to navigate. The only thing I can't do is get to the very bottom still. I'd probably just speak up. All right, anything else from you guys? What other questions do we have? Any other Pathways questions at all that we need to address as a group? All right, cool. Now what I'm going to ask you guys to do at this point is I would like you to take 1 or 2 questions, I'd like you to form up in some groups. You guys decide how many people. I recommend 5 to 7. And I want you to talk in a group about, 1, how are you getting new members into the system? What are you doing to get them going? What's the new member process? We've seen some new hints up here. I'm happy to answer questions if we need them. And then for the other question that you guys can take, what are you doing to keep members moving on their paths? So your questions, brand new member, how do I get them in the system and start working? Existing member, how do I keep them focused? Remember, we can't go in the graphs. How do I keep them moving down their path? You guys up for that? Break into groups and let's have some conversation. Can I borrow your attention for 1 more moment? All right, you guys can keep these conversations going for the next 2 hours. If that works for you, you do it. But I have to tell you that we're going to be done in here. I am Lynne Brasher. Okay, that's B-R-A-S-H-E-R. And if you need to fill out, or I need you to please fill out this piece of paper. It's your evaluation form. Tell me what I did, what I do better. Just like you would for anybody who got up here and speak. Nobody speaks for free, right? Got to have an evaluation. And if you changed your emails, or you guys want to exchange emails, do so. If you would like to reach me, or you would like to have any questions about Pathways after our conversation today, if you go to the District 3 website, everybody know where that is?
Yes.
All right, you go to the District 3 website, you can also Google that if you can't find it. You will find a Pathways portion. On that Pathways, the very first thing it says on the page is the email to reach the Pathways team. And we like to answer you, so please feel free to drop us a note anytime. Yes, ma'am?
And Trish, she's the main person, we'll go visit your club and do a pathway presentation. So she's phenomenal that way, reach out to her. If you have a lot of new members and you don't feel like you know what to do, she'll do a presentation.
Absolutely. All right, well, guys, thank you very much. Please throw your chairs back in order before you walk out the door and enjoy the rest of your day.
Excellent.
Thanks, guys.